university synonymous with tradition and excellence. Harvard football guards that reputation with distinction. For 15 seasons, head coach Tim Murphy has led the Crimson team in a manner befitting its legacy. During his tenure, the Crimson players have enjoyed a college football career decorated with achievement and pride. Every four-year player recruited has graduated and been part of at least one Ivy League championship. Harvard is the only team in the country to accomplish that feat. The championship marks Harvard's second consecutive Ancient Age championship and its first title repeat since 1982-1983. The Crimson has now won 3 league titles in the past 5 seasons and 4 in the last 8 seasons. Since the turn of the century, Harvard is ranked number 7 in winning percentage among all Division I schools. The Crimson of 2008 knew the reputation to which they would be held and reveled in the challenge. They did not disappoint, and once again, the Ivy League trophy was held aloft. With the Ivy League trophy still being guarded by Harvard, the Crimson faithful turned out for a little Ivy-style tailgating to cheer on Coach Tim Murphy's 2008 squad as they took on the Crusaders of Holy Cross in a night game before 20,000 fans. Starting quarterback Chris Pizzotti returned in mid-season form as he captained 50-yard drives twice in the first quarter. Pizzotti's favorite target in this season's opener was Calgary, Alberta product Marco Iannuzzi, who had 174 yards and a touchdown. Some clutch defense like Colin Zich's drive-ending deflection kept Holy Cross's 24 points within reach. The defense's electric play sparked an astounding 3-score fourth-quarter comeback. Mixing up the play calling with running plays, deep passes, and some of his own scrambling, Chris Pizzotti tied the score at 24. And Patrick Long's extra point was just enough to start the 2008 season in the win column. The 2008 Harvard squad had to contend with 2 opponents in Week 2. The opposing squad from Brown, and a soaking rain. Making no excuses, Pizzotti and the offense still managed to execute their league-leading performance. First by connecting with the open man, 6'6" Matt Luft from Thousand Oaks, California, managed to shed his defender and score a touchdown on Harvard's opening drive. As the rain continued, so did Harvard's assault. Andrew Berry's interception brought an end to Brown's 11-play drive and led to Harvard's second touchdown of the day. At the half, Harvard trailed by 1. The Crimson offense tacked on a field goal, and the Crimson defense made Brown pay dearly for every yard gained. A 15-play drive netted a touchdown pass from Minnetonka native Liam O'Hagan to Matt Luft and brought the Crimson within 2. Brown's goal line stand prevented Ben Jenkins' 2-point conversion attempt, and Harvard would have to settle for its only loss of the 2008 season. Game 3 of Harvard's 2008 season meant a meeting with defensive powerhouse Lafayette. Showing its own defensive teeth, the Crimson defense held the Leopards to just a field goal in the opening quarter. Pizzotti and the offense plowed through the Lafayette defense for a touchdown on its opening drive. Connecting with Luft and Schwarzkopf through the air, doing some of his own rushing, and handing off to Augusta, Georgia's Cheng Ho, Crimson drove 67 yards, and Ho capped off the drive with a 3-yard score.
Cheng Ho steps up inside for the touchdown.
Pizzotti continued to find an open receiver and put Patrick Long of Wilmington, North Carolina in position to tack on another 3 points at the end of the first quarter. The Harvard defensive squad would not be outdone as Andrew Berry from Bel Air, Maryland, stole a pass from Lafayette at the top of the second quarter. The Crimson defense choked Lafayette throughout the day, while Harvard's offense continued their assault. Using all his offensive weapons, Pizzotti spread the ball around to running back Gino Gordon for some razzle-dazzle, and connected through the air with Chalfont, Pennsylvania native Chris Lordich. The balanced attack through the air and on the ground would eventually net Harvard 27 points. Harvard left the field with a 2-1 record and denied Lafayette a 4-0 start. Cornell walked into a crimson buzzsaw in Week 4 of the 2008 season, delivering passes of will to 7 different receivers.
Pizzotti to throw, lofts one up for left, and he's got some room.
Quarterback Chris Pizzotti marched Harvard's offense down the field for more than 400 yards in the 38-17 victory.
3rd and 3, Levi Richards takes the inside handoff, has the first down and more.
Things looked bad early for the visiting Big Red when Pizzotti dropped a pass in the lap of freshman Adam Chrisus a minute 34 into the contest. The Pittsburgh native then turned it up the field for a 67-yard touchdown on Harvard's opening drive.
Adam Chrisus going the distance. Harvard on the board once again on its first drive.
I think Adam Chrisus showed us right there he's ready for Saturday afternoon football in the Ivy League.
Coach Tim Murphy preaches a team approach to winning, and his Crimson squad delivered with suffocating defense and brilliant special teams play.
Inside the 5-yard line and downed at the 2.
Cornell was held to just 2 touchdowns and a field goal courtesy of 2 interceptions by Harvard's defense. The first by Colorado's Matthew Henson, who grabbed his second of the year, and Glenn Doris from Marietta, Georgia, who stole his first. Chrisus would tally another touchdown reception and a rushing touchdown before the game ended. Augusta, Georgia's Chang Ho powered one up the gut for his second touchdown of the season. Jason Miller and Levi Richards also proved to be easy targets for the Ivy League's best star.
Pizzotti, he's got some time, he's got Richard alone, touchdown Crimson!
Harvard left the field with a 2-game winning streak and a 3-1 record. Harvard Stadium was the setting for Game 5 of the 2008 season, where the Crimson and the Mountain Hawks met for a non-conference tilt. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania native Adam Chrisus provides Chris Pizzotti with another target, which keeps the defense guessing. On the other side of the ball, Harvard's opportunistic defense does all it can to keep the ball in Pizzotti's hands.
Matthew Hansen has it, the freshman recovers.
He promptly delivers it to 6'6" Matt Luff for a first quarter touchdown.
Pizzotti tries to make them pay right away, throwing towards the end zone for Luft. Wow. Did he grab it? He did. Touchdown.
Harvard continues its winning formula of working as a team, getting participation from the field goal unit and the defense.
Clark the pass on 2nd down and 11. Broken up, knocked away by Schultz and intercepted by Harvard. Picked up by Glenn Doris, and Doris leads for the end zone and is in. Touchdown, Harvard!
Zionsville, Illinois native Jason Miller finds a way to get open, which sets up yet another Pizzotti to Luft score.
Pizzotti will throw it up looking for Luft. He's got it, and he's got another touchdown.
Lehigh would score in every quarter for a total of 17 points on the day. This would provide some drama, but in the end, the Crimson would notch another victory with a final score of 27-24. Harvard spotted Princeton 7 points at Powers Field before they mounted a come-from-behind victory in Week 6 of the 2008 campaign. A determined Crimson squad with their eye on a share of the Ivy League trophy erased Princeton's lead late in the third quarter, where the score would be 17-0. Pizzotti marshaled his 4-1 Harvard squad down the field for a score in each quarter. First, a 25-yard field goal by reliable Patrick Long. Then a 15-yard pass to Chris Lordich. Getting in on the fun himself, Pizzotti ran one in from 33 yards.
Steps up under pressure, gets the block's going to run. To the 30, gets a great block, 25-20, down the near sideline, 10, 5, and he's in for the touchdown.
With a lead and just under 5 minutes to play, Gino Gordon adds to his already impressive season stats with a 6-yard dance into the end zone. Harvard will take a 3-game winning streak to meet Dartmouth next week. Dartmouth found no mercy when they hosted Harvard. Early in the first quarter, Collins Itch said hello Plano, Texas style, and Dartmouth's offense left the field with a 3-and-out opening drive. Harvard's ground and pound offense ran in high gear on the legs of Chang Ho and California native Gino Gordon. The Crimson quarterbacks chewed up some yardage as well, with Pizzotti scrambling in 2 touchdowns and backup quarterback Liam O'Hagan scampering for another 28 yards.
This is what he can do so well. O'Hagan getting up into Dartmouth territory, down to the 41-yard line.
Harvard refused to let up on offense, continuing their chokehold on defense, tacking on a safety for good measure. The scoring ended when Raleigh, North Carolina native Ben Jenkins capped off his 100-plus yard day with a handoff and dive for the last of Harvard's 35 points.
It's his first touchdown. Great effort by Jenkins to do that.
Harvard would return home with a 6-game winning streak and a 7-1 record to take on Columbia at home. Harvard, with his number 21 ranking, hosted Columbia in Week 8 of the 2008 campaign. Knowing if the winning continued, they would have a chance to share in the Ivy Trophy. Quarterback Chris Pizzotti passed for a career-high 376 yards and 4 touchdowns, connecting with Chris's, Richards, and Luft repeatedly throughout the contest. The performance moved Pizzotti into sole possession of second place all-time for Harvard passing. Coach Murphy's 2008 squad opened the contest with a 93-yard, 12-play drive, as Pizzotti continued his habit of finding the open receiver. Both Richards and Luft had 100-plus yard games and became the first 2 Crimson teammates to achieve 100 yards each in the same game in 33 years. Pizzotti found Chris Lordage alone over the middle, and the 76-yard pass to the Chalfont, Pennsylvania native gave Harvard what would be a sustained lead. Minnetonka-san Liam O'Hagan connected with Pittsburgh native Adam Chris's for a 2-point conversion, putting Harvard a full 2 touchdowns ahead, where they would remain. The Crimson defense proved to be too much for either Columbia quarterback, as they only allowed Columbia to run 3 plays at a time by either pummeling the quarterback or grabbing his passes out of the air. NFF National Scholar athlete Andrew Berry added 7 tackles and another interception to his impressive senior season. The Crimson spoiled 3 passes with interceptions and sacked the Columbia quarterback committee 5 times. Lafayette, Colorado freshman Matthew Hansen crushed Columbia's last hope of a first-half score with an interception and a 28-yard return to Columbia's 16-yard line. When Hansen and the defense handed the ball back to Pizzotti in the offense, they had less than a minute to score, which proved to be more than enough, as Pizzotti immediately targeted Luft in the end zone for his 4th touchdown of the half. Harvard carried a 3-touchdown lead into halftime, as the Crimson defense held Columbia just 7 points in the first half. Gino Gordon got the ball on the 3-yard line after Pizzotti and Luft connected again for 37 yards and trotted the Harvard score up to 35 points. Aside from completely neutralizing the Lions' offense, the Crimson defense tacked on their touchdown when Brooklyn native Peter Ajayi scooped up a Columbia fumble and returned it for the 30-yard dagger. Harvard ended the game with 42 points, piled high above Columbia's 28, in what was their highest scoring effort of the season. With a victory needed to keep their Ivy League trophy hopes alive, Harvard traveled to Philadelphia's Franklin Field to meet the Quakers of Penn. The first half was all about defense, and Richmond, Kentucky product Ryan Barnes ended Penn's 14-play drive with this clutch interception, keeping the score even at 0. The senior safety returned to action after a Princeton injury sidelined him for 3 weeks. Making up for lost time, Barnes unleashed 3 weeks of sideline syndrome on the Quakers with 3 jarring pass breakups and 3 interceptions. There were plenty of fireworks in the second half to make up for all the defensive stonewalling in the first, when Harvard allowed Penn to run and throw but not score. Before the end of the half, Pizzotti would find Levi Richards alone in the end zone and finally break the all-nil tie. Halftime adjustments uncorked the offense for both teams as both Penn and Harvard found the end zone more than once. Harvard's first trip to the end zone came courtesy of a dazzling running performance by Bonita, California's Gino Gordon, who motored 63 yards past the Quakers and put the Crimson up 14-0. For what would be the crucial difference in final scores, Patrick Long split the uprights from 20 yards for 3 points. 6'2" Pizzotti and 6'6" Matt Luff connected in rarefied air for a 42-yard gain and brought the ball down to the Quaker 13. Then Nikolai Schwarzkopf would cap off the 67-yard drive with a reception in the end zone to give Harvard its go-ahead 7 points. Penn had no intention of going quietly as they mounted a 75-yard drive. The bend but don't break Crimson defense, who had allowed no passing touchdowns all day, were not about to now. Ryan Barnes ended the game the same way he started, with a clutch interception in the end zone. With a one-loss record, Harvard was now poised to retain a share of the Ivy League with a win against Yale. Frigid weather greeted the more than 31,000 fans at the game. Harvard-Yale for the 125th time, 30 miles per hour winds, and 20-degree weather made for interesting developments. With the Ivy title on the line again, the Crimson faced the Yale squad in the friendly confines of Harvard Stadium. Harvard would start early with a methodical attack led by Gino Gordon's 26-yard run and Chris Pizzotti's running and passing. Forced to punt, Harvard's special teams were ever alert to pounce on a Yale mistake.
Yale lets it bounce. Harvard pounces on it, and there recovers the ball. It is a fumble.
As a result, Pizzotti passed to Levi Richards and sneaked for a first down. Gino Gordon took it over from the 4-yard line.
Gordon cuts back inside. Touchdown, Harvard.
In a surprise and daring move, Harvard called for an onside kick, and it worked to perfection as center Alex Spizak recovered.
It's recovered by Harvard, and Harvard has it once again.
Harvard would once again go on the offensive and would not give up the ball to Yale's offense until 11 minutes had passed in the first quarter. For the day, Harvard controlled the ball for close to 40 minutes. Sophomore Gino Gordon from Bonita, California piled up 168 yards and joined teammates Chang Ho and Ben Jenkins, who also had 100-plus yard games on their resume. Senior inside linebacker Eric Schultz menaced opposing offenses for the last time as part of the Harvard squad by adding 9 tackles and a forced fumble to the last line of his college resume.
Hart to the air, he's hit from behind and fumbles, and it's picked up by Harvard. Eric Schultz came free again.
But the only numbers that really mattered to the players, coaches, and fans at the end of the day was the 10-0 score on the scoreboard. Harvard's defense was the headliner this day, as starters Ehrlich, Curtis, and Schultz got the attention by stifling the highly touted Eli offense. Ryan Barnes crushed a scary 7-play drive with a well-timed blitz and a sack 14 yards behind the line of scrimmage at the top of the second quarter. It was the defense that would seal the victory. Patrick Long capped off his junior year with a 33-yard boot into the wind for 3 more points, adding to his season total of 66, 1/4 of the team's season total. After dominating the Ivy League all season long, the 2008 Crimson squad defeated Yale for the 7th time in their last 8 meetings and grabbed their 13th Ivy League trophy. For the seniors, it was the perfect ending to the years of sacrifice made for the team, for the years of sacrifice made for the family.
Director of Athletics Bob Scalise, Tom Stevenson, Michael Smith, and our president. On behalf of Harvard football, I'd just like to say to all of you guys, I could not be prouder. That was something very special that happened out there today. So proud of our players, so proud of our coaches. Congratulations, back-to-back Ivy League champions.
10,000 men of Harvard gained victory today. We know that all the line, fair Harvard will swing. So we're gonna go all the men. When the amen will sing again, 10,000 men of Harvard gained victory today. It'll jam them, not go run them, dominate South on fire. It'll jam them, not go run them, dominate South on fire. Gariano Senator, Veritas, not sequitur. It'll jam them, not go run them, it's so facto. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
The 2008 Crimson squad shone with memorable performances on both sides of the ball. 7 Crimson players were named to the 2008 All-Ivy team. 5 were named to the second team All-Ivy, and 6 were given honorable mention. In all, 18 members of Tim Murphy's Harvard squad received postseason honors. Coach Murphy heaped praise on the Harvard defense after the Yale game.
Defensively, that last stand was extraordinary. It was unbelievable, very, very special. Seniors, you've done an amazing job. Your leadership, your character all year long is what carried us to the Ivy League championship. Thank you.
4 members of the Crimson defense received All-Ivy honors, led by tackle Matt Curtis, the 255-pound defensive lineman who was the 135th captain of the Crimson squad.
Great team victory. I love all of you. We're all family in here. Cremo way, baby.
Also named All-Ivy was 6'2" Glenn Doris from Marietta, Georgia, who had 49 tackles, 11 of which came in 1 game. Fellow Georgian Eric Schultz was named All-Ivy and led the team in tackles and sacks. Against Yale, Schultz recorded 9 tackles and forced a key fumble and a sack. NFF scholar athlete Andrew Berry rounds out the Harvard contingency on this year's All-Ivy team for the 3rd time. The Bel Air, Maryland native senior started the season with 8 tackles and 2 pass breakups against Holy Cross. In all 10 games, opposing offenses had to account for his presence, as he ended the season with 6 breakups and 3 interceptions. On offense, the Crimson were led by senior quarterback Chris Pizzotti, a 20-2 record as he guided the Crimson to their 2nd Ivy League trophy. Pizzotti led the league in completion percentage, 62.9, and passing efficiency of 146.19. Against Ivy League opponents, only 4 passes were intercepted by the defense. In short, Pizzotti's performance in 2008 was spectacular. On the receiving end of Pizzotti's 193 completions was another All-Ivy selection, 6'6" Matt Luft. Luft's senior year resume included 875 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns, 53 receptions, and 5 100-plus yard games. Tackle James Williams, only a junior, received his 2nd All-Ivy honor as he led the offensive line to their 2nd Ivy League championship in a row. The 2008 Crimson squad led the league in offense, dominated on defense, and the special teams added an X factor, pulling together Tim Murphy's team approach to winning. New champions will arise and shoulder the responsibility of carrying on the tradition of winning they have inherited. No one Harvard team outranks the heritage that is Harvard football, and every team protects the legend it has become.